Last 3 games, just 4 of 20 from the floor, and Jamani McNeese always provides a lot of presence inside. Somebody that their roles. Brendan, do we need to tell folks which teams are wearing what colors if one of them's called the Mean Green? Opening tap is controlled by the Mean Green. North Texas again 8-0. They've won 10 consecutive going back to last year. They won 2 of 3 to win that CBI championship. So it is the longest win streak in the country entering play today. They played 5 of their games in Denton, so 5-0 at home. Just 1 true road game. They won that as well. Just 8 seconds in, and North Texas will inbound the basketball. And the shot taken by Gibson. That's off the mark, and James has the rebound.
Well, Oklahoma has the size advantage, not only inside, but also on the perimeter with their length. And the Mean Green are going to have to try to be able to score over that in the half court and also defend it and hold their own on the boards with their lack of size.
Manick inside, he misses, and Simmons pulls down the rebound. Well, the Mean Green is one of the smallest teams size-wise in the country. The average height just 6'3" and a half inch collectively. Another miss and a steal on the errant pass.
And they will put out 4 guards. I mean, you can see on these first 3 possessions how quick they are. They'll space you, and any one of those 4 guys can take you off the bounce. So Oklahoma, at multiple positions, will have to be able to defend the basketball.
Calixte goes inside and gets the first 2 of the game. Aaron's averaging 9 points per game.
Calixte, a capable scorer. Ron Kruger wants him to run this ball club first, but he had 9 20-point games last year at Maine, so he can put the ball in the basket.
He's coming off a game in which he only had 2 points in the low-scoring victory over Dayton. Shot clock down to 5. Duffy sends it to the corner. That shot's off the mark, and the Mean Green still scoreless a minute and a half into the game. Let's check in with the third member of our team, Jessica Cootie. And Jessica, you have more on Christian James.
Yeah, what's the biggest difference in Christian James' game? Confidence. That will be the very first thing that he would tell you. And where does that confidence come from? Time spent in the gym. Christian told me that this offseason leading up to his senior season is far and away the most time that he has spent in the gym dedicating to improving his game. And he said, you know, it's seeing those early mornings and late nights pay off, all that hard work, the results of that has given him a confidence boost. It makes him want to work even harder. But not only that, he's also drawing confidence from his teammates who have shown a great deal of confidence in him, looking to him to score and needing him to score. So trying to stay aggressive at all times to do what this team needs him to do. And he's far from satisfied with where he's at 6 games into the season, guys. He says he wants more.
Jessica, he has played really well, and I can vouch for his work ethic. After shoot-around today, Christian James came out with assistant coach Chris Crutchfield and spent about 45 minutes working on his jumper. And like he needs work. He hit 11 threes in the last 3 ball games he's played. But I agree. His confidence is good, and they need him to be good.
Brady Manick saves the possession for Oklahoma. Look at the hustle in the corner, knocking that off of Roosevelt Smart, so it'll be Oklahoma basketball.
And Manick only averaged 4 points in the Bahamas. Struggled from the floor, 4 of 20, but I don't worry about that because Brady doesn't have to be the primary scorer. He continued to rebound, and Bill, as you were alluding to right there, he continues to make the hustle plays. The scoring will come.
Roosevelt Smart loves to live behind the arc, and he missed that shot. Here's Calixte the other way, and the green jerseys were waiting for him.
And you can see the length of Oklahoma. You think you have an open jumper, and their length closes you out quickly.
Christian Doolittle got in the paint and got the bucket, and now it's a timeout for the Mean Green, who remains scoreless in this game. This is a team that...
And just because North Texas, Bill, is off to a slow start here shooting the basketball, they are not going to be shy about continuing to take threes. They make 10 a game. They shoot 43% as a team from three-point range.
Those are our Riverwind keys to the game. Riverwind, the place to be. 6-0 Oklahoma. Simmons cut off on the baseline, and Smart's going to launch another three, and he rattled that home. We talked to Grant McCaslin earlier today, and because Smart missed so much of the early season with a calf injury, he wasn't sure exactly how he was going to be implementing him into the lineup and how much he would allow him to be aggressive. Well, I think the answer is go do what you do.
Well, that's what great players try to do, right? I mean, they're not going to sit back and wait for the game to come to them. So he said he's 100% healthy, which is great news for the Mean Green. Not quite in great game shape yet.
Woolridge drives in and draws a foul. He's got a chance at a three-point play that would tie the game.
Well, again, spacing from North Texas, and you go by Manick, and then Jamoni McNeese, who's an outstanding rim protector. He had 12 blocks in the last 3 games. But Woolridge right there did exactly what you need to do, Bill. He took it right to the chin of McNeese and took that shot blocking ability away.
Ryan Woolridge from Mansfield, Texas, making his 57th consecutive start. Far and away the most experienced of the Mean Green in terms of playing time. Free throw off the mark. Oklahoma maintains the lead 4 minutes into this game. Calixte off the mark, and McNeese slaps it back out and saves the possession.
Boy, good work by McNeese right there, tapping the ball, going out of his area to do that. Now Oklahoma can put North Texas back on D.
James out of the corner, shot clock, plenty of time. Now down to 10. Doolittle pulls up, and that rattles round and off. Woolridge the rebound. Mean Green on the run. Duffy the other way. There's contact. He goes down hard, and he'll go to the free throw line. Assistant coach went to Arkansas State, had a 20-win team. The North Texas job opened up. We talked to him about it earlier today, Brendan, and he said this was all about family. First of all, you've got a great institution in a great city, but his entire family is within an hour of campus. For him, it was a no-brainer.
Yeah, absolutely, and he enjoyed his time at Arkansas State and went with the intention that they could win and had that good first year. But obviously, this is a perfect fit for him. And I mean, he's already making an impact and doing a really nice job. Now, remember, he was at Baylor 5 years as an assistant for Scott Drew. Went to a couple Sweet 16s and was a big reason that they were able to do that.
Rashard Odoms connects on the three, and the Sooners' lead is 3.
Well, Odoms, a defensive stopper that Lon Kruger brings off the bench. The senior has basically accepted that he's going to have that role, and he plays it well. Doesn't shoot the 3 much, just his second three-point shot of the year.
Yeah, the first one came back in the opening game of the season. That's slapped out of the hands of Roosevelt Smart. And now the loose ball at midcourt is poked away by Odoms into the hands of Manick, and Oklahoma has it. Manick floats in and he scores.
I tell you what, I really like Jamal Bieniemy. That defensive possession down there. There's all that shake and bake movement. He didn't bite on any of it. Stayed down, was solid defensively, used his length. And the freshman forces the turnover. And then the patience to allow Manick to continue to flow down the floor in that secondary break situation.
Good job defensively by Miles Reynolds. He cut off the pathway for Jordan Duffy, who slipped down and traveled. And the Mean Green has turned it over.
See what I'm talking about right there? That's what you like about the freshman. He understands good defensive positioning. And there's Odoms coming over the ball. Now watch Bieniemy. Doesn't get in a hurry. Slows down the game. Lets the play develop. And waits for Manick to come through for the finish.
Such an interesting dynamic this season for Jamal Bieniemy. A year ago, Oklahoma was one of the youngest teams in the country with an average age of 19. This season, Bieniemy is the only freshman, true freshman on the roster. Bunch of old guys around him. Here's Manick spotting up for 3, top of the key. That's off the mark. And that basketball slips out of the hands of Jemiah Simmons, and it's another North Texas turnover.
And a much better job of Oklahoma off the miss, having 5 bodies sprint back in transition and protect the paint and work themselves inside out defensively. I mean, you can talk to your ball club about how a team will push it, and they're quicker than you think, and all those things as a coach. And sometimes it takes getting into game action for your team to appreciate that. And it looks like Oklahoma has now done that.
Got a foul on the Sooners. That's Matt Freeman who's in off the bench. Let's bring Jessica back in. And Jessica, you were listening into the Sooner huddle just a moment ago.
That point that Brendan was just making was exactly what was being emphasized there in that timeout. Coach Kruger and his coaching staff saying we got to play harder. Specifically, we got to defend harder. We got to get back in transition, and we've got to defend. We've got to guard the ball better. You know that's what they're going to do. They're going to attack you. You got to talk. You got to move your feet. Just not really liking how they came out defensively, but certainly seeing changes there in that after that timeout.
Thank you, Jessica. And another North Texas turnover. This is a team, Brendan, that's only averaged 12 turnovers per game through their first 8. They can't handle the basketball right now.
Well, Oklahoma has made an adjustment, like Jessica was alluding to, and what they're doing is they're using their length. You can still pressure the ball and get out and contain, but you don't have to be right up on these guards because they're quick. You use your length to discourage them from turning the corner. And then what really happens is that North Texas will become a contested jump shooting team. See McNeese, the strong move right there. You know, we talked about Bill in the open, Oklahoma looking different at really both ends of the floor without Trey Young. You know, he was ball dominant and such a terrific individual offensive player. But with the way Christian James is playing, you have a perimeter player who can carry you, and then there's Jemani McNeese, who is quietly having an excellent year. 18 points, 8 rebounds against Dayton. You can throw it into him, and if he has you deep, you know, he's got 2 moves, over left shoulder, over right shoulder, and he's really developing. So the ability for Oklahoma to be able to throw it inside every once in a while is going to be really to their advantage once they get to Big 12 conference play.
The area where McNeese has struggled this season has been at the free throw line, and they just got a bonus point from it. He's hitting just 35% of his foul shots. He just went 1 for 2 from the line. There's a ball poked away by Bieniemy. Leaving it for Odoms. Got around one defender and got fouled by the other, and Odoms will go to the free throw line. Well, there's a lot of guys off the bench in the game right now for Lon Kruger. We've seen Odoms, Reynolds, Freeman, Bieniemy. And we talked about energy in the open, and we're seeing that from Bieniemy.
And the length. We talked about the length from Bieniemy in the open. You see that long left arm poking the basketball free. And I always appreciate two-way players that play both ends of the floor. But again, one of the reasons I really like Bieniemy as a freshman is that he understands the importance of the defensive side of it. A lot of young players, it takes them some time to learn how important it really is.
Sooners have another 6-point lead. They opened up the game 6-0. Now lead at 12-6. That's off the mark, and that's Bieniemy with the rebound, and he'll go the other way. Doing a lot of work through traffic, and Freeman wants it. Not going to get it. We're going to go the other way to the corner. This is Odoms on the move. He floats it up, and that's off the mark, and Simmons has the board for North Texas. Inside 12 to play, so we've got a timeout coming. Here's Smart launching another 3. That's no good. Simmons with a nice rebound over 2 Sooners.
Well, Simmons, I mean, he's tough to block out because he's only 6'4", so he has the quickness, and the Sooners lose him right there. He's got some versatility and a little toughness for Grant McCaslin, as you saw in that putback.
Here's McNeese with the other Simmons on him, and the lefty's off the mark. 2 Simmons on the floor for the Mean Green. Jemiah Simmons from St. Thomas, Virgin Islands. Zachary Simmons, 24, from Abilene, Texas. No relation. Nice job by Odoms to not get called for a foul. And another three-pointer miss by North Texas. And the foul is called on Jemiah Simmons, trying to get position for that rebound. And that whistle will take us to another timeout with 11:02 left to play.
I like the mean green.
Yeah.
Remember that great Coke commercial?
Absolutely.
One of the best commercials of all time.
Tossing the jersey to the young fan.
Thanks, Mean Joe.
Yeah. Reynolds out of the timeout to the baseline. It kicks it out to Freeman. And it's Reynolds for the corner. He's off the mark, and a foul is called on Woolridge as Matt Freeman was trying to get position for the rebound. First foul on Woolridge. Fourth team foul of the half on North Texas. And Calixte kicks it in to Freeman, who had a great game against Wofford a couple of weeks ago. That's McNeese inside, missing the shot, draws a foul, and he'll go back to the free throw line.
And I like that right there from Oklahoma. When you're in the half-court set, now that's out of an underneath out-of-bounds play, but it's some ball movement. You get a little cross screen right there for McNeese, and I would just pound it inside. North Texas, I mean, they're little right now. When you throw Woolridge and Duffy and Gibson out there. And here's that play. Watch McNeese in the short corner. You know, just a little exchange. It wasn't much of a screen, but that's all he needed. Free up a little space.
There's also some contact from Simmons on that. And how about McNeese? Hit both ends of that trip to the free throw line. He'd come in hitting just 5 of 14 attempts on the season, 35%. But he's 3 for 4 in the early going of this one. Back up to a 6-point lead for Oklahoma. Three-pointer on the way and no good by Gibson. And here's Calixte. How fortunate for Oklahoma with Trae Young leaving that they're able to land an experienced grad transfer in Calixte. There's a lot that goes through the hands of McNeese and off the hand of Reynolds, and will go the other way. There's an Oklahoma turnover. But to find a new point guard and find one that has so much experience.
Before we get to that, I never thought you could throw it too high and McNeese not get it. I mean, that was way up there. But no, exactly. And also don't forget, backup point guard who had a couple years of experience, Jordan Shepard, transfers to Charlotte out North Carolina. So you have no experience at the point guard position, at least Big 12 experience. Calixte, you get a guy who's a veteran and been through it, and then the enemy who we've already talked a lot about tonight.
Smart cut off. And now Simmons working around Freeman, goes off the glass. The rim got rattled. And this is Reynolds on the floor. He's tied up by a trio of mean green. Grant McCaslin wants to know why there wasn't basket interference. And the alternate possession arrow points in the direction of Oklahoma as Lon Kruger goes to his bench and gets big. He's bringing Brady Manick back in at 6'9", and Hannes Pola at 6'11", 267 coming in.
Is that big? 6'11", 267?
Well, we've been talking about length, but the sheer physical size of some of these Sooners is significantly different than what we're seeing in the green uniforms.
And a little surprised because Pola has not played in the last 2 games. Did not play against Wisconsin or Dayton. So good for him that he's going to get a little opportunity here.
James on the move. And there's contact and a foul, and that's going to go against Christian James, an offensive foul and a turnover.
And what North Texas is doing, they're doing a good job of containing, and then one pass away, if you will, they're pinching in, and they're not allowing Oklahoma to drive it. And if Oklahoma wants to drive it, they've got to get good ball movement first and make those guys on defense shift and open up those gaps. They're not going to be able to take them off the drive without moving the ball.
Both teams now have 6 turnovers, and the loose ball on the floor picked up by North Texas, but the ball was kicked, and that's going to turn it over to Oklahoma.
Doolittle, number 21, steps back in for Oklahoma in place of James.
Christian Doolittle has come back into the game for Oklahoma, number 21, and Christian James will get a break on the Oklahoma bench.
they've got a game right now. Looks like first one to 38 wins.
Pass intended for Paula, and he's the last one to touch it, and it goes out of bounds. And it's another Oklahoma turnover. Got a little sloppy, a little more turnovers than points over the last couple of minutes.
There's Pola getting that position, and it was there. Maybe a little bit too hard to handle. But Oklahoma has had a couple of opportunities where you go high-low. And you like that because you take away that weak side help. That's already built in.
Woolridge on the move through the lane, gets it to Duffy. His three is no good, and Manick got his hand on the rebound. He's knocked to the floor, and it'll be Oklahoma basketball.
And again, a contested three for North Texas. You see Reynolds get there. Now here's the thing, though, that I would be concerned about if I'm Coach Kruger and his staff. I mean, while the defense has been really good, North Texas can shoot the basketball. At some point, somebody's going to make one or two, get the lid off the basket, and they're going to put it on a little run. As soon as I got to find some offense, and fortunate right there that Miles gets it, but that's not the shots you want.
Reynolds flies in for that offensive rebound and the putback, and Oklahoma has doubled up the score and right now has its biggest lead of the game of 8 at 16-8. But you're right, North Texas is a team, I mentioned, averages 81 points per game. They shoot 51% from the floor on the season. So they can get hot. They're just not going to get hot with Smart. He's on the bench right now with 2 personal fouls. So they'll try to get protection from somebody else, and that is Mike Miller, who missed a shot. It's also a team that shoots the three well at 42%. Manick lost the handle, collects it. Good for those long arms, but the pass goes through the hands of Paula, and that's a foul at the half-court line. It's called on Reynolds. And that's his first personal foul, and that takes us to...
So it'll be interesting to see. Kansas is the best team. I think Kansas State is right there on their heels, and then beyond that, it'll be interesting to see what happens.
One thing that's shaping up with this Oklahoma team that I find interesting, just as, and it's a small sample because they've only played 6 games so far, but they have won and played in games a variety. High-scoring games. They've played in some slugfests. They've had really just one bad half, and that was the second half against Wisconsin, in which the Badgers shot 8 of 9 from three-point range and shot 59% in the second half. You're going to lose a lot of games like that if somebody is that hot, but that was tied up to the first half. But Oklahoma has been in a variety of different games, including the last one against Dayton, in which they won 65-54. That was one where they just kind of stood at each other and slugged away for a while. And so they've been in different types of tests so far and passed most of them for the most part. There's a three-pointer by Duffy. Back the other way, Odoms misses. McNeese uses that physicality, gets the rebound, and slams it back home. (18-11) Oklahoma. Let's check in with Jessica again. Jessica, you're listening in.
Well, this coaching staff really liked what this team was doing defensively, like how they're guarding. Just got to keep it up, and we'll start scoring. They were talking about getting in a flow here offensively, going to look to go inside a little bit more to Jamani McNeese, but just really want to see this team settle down. But if you just keep getting stops, they'll get some buckets. That's what the message was to this team.
Thank you, Jessica. That was a nice move by Woolridge, getting around the Oklahoma defense. They did everything but finish and get points out of that possession. Manick inside. That's off the mark, but he draws a foul. And Brady will go to the free throw line where he's a 69% shooter. Brandon, can a team's identity change as the season goes on? Oklahoma, again, at the beginning of the season was scoring a lot of points against lesser opponents, but as it goes on, might this become much more of a tougher defensive-minded team?
Well, that's actually what Coach Kruger wanted from the beginning. He felt like the last 2 seasons that they've gotten away from it, and I couldn't agree more. They didn't guard anybody last year. Then 2 years ago, they were really young. Jordan Woodard was in and out of the lineup. Leadership they were expecting to have with injuries. But when you play in the Big 12, Kansas is always good defensively. Last year was one of the few years where they weren't very good defensively, and Bill Self had to adjust, and he had to let them take more risk offensively, which tells you what a great coach he is. But traditionally, they're the best defensive team in the league. Bruce Weber's team, K-State, he's got a lot of old guys. They defend, and Coach Kruger knows better than anybody. You got to be able to get stops late in games on the road if you're going to win games in this league.
Woolridge again makes a nice move to the basket. This time he finishes. 7-point Oklahoma lead, 5.5 to play in the opening half.
Yeah, Woolridge, he's got excellent speed.
That's Doolittle missing, but he drew contact, and he'll go to the free throw line. You know, it's kind of tough, though, to be a defensive-minded team over the last, 3-4 years for Oklahoma when you've got Buddy Hield and Trae Young scoring, 30, 40 points a night.
There's Doolittle. Speaking of defense, there's Doolittle driving. I like it when he's aggressive offensively. I was talking to Chris Crutchfield today, and this is not the first time that he's told me this, but they feel like Doolittle is their best defender. He can guard all 5 spots, and look at him. I mean, that's a man right there. That's 6'7". What's he go? About 225, Bill? Something like that? 230? Moves well. He's good on the ball. You see him right here. He's defending Woolridge. Does a good job using his length.
Miller got free, laid it up and in on the backdoor play.
Good cut right there. When teams are really extending out on you to take away that 3-point shot, playing without the ball can do good things.
Needs to be a little more loft on that pass. It got tapped away by DJ Draper, who's in off the Mean Green bench. That's another Oklahoma turnover, and it comes with 5 minutes remaining.
Ball was a little low right there. I mean, you got that big of a size advantage. You get the ball up in the air, and then Doolittle released him a little bit too early.
Miller with the basketball. Odoms went for the steal. That layup no good. The rebound pulled down by Zachary Simmons and a new shot clock. Miller inside, a lot of white jerseys around him, so he kicks it out. That 3 is no good, and McNeese gets the rebound. Had great position on Zachary Simmons. So we'll go back to the other way and shoot some free throws with Jumonte McNeese, who has a newfound touch from the free throw line.
Where's the missed layup? And then Simmons, good job of getting out of that double team. But Oklahoma in a broken floor like there, still continue to contest. Doolittle gets out on the perimeter. And there's McNeese cleaning up the defensive stop.
Jumonte had 1 block in the first 3 games this season, then made his presence known inside, which is what he has done in this game. He had 4 blocks against Florida, 5 blocks against Wisconsin. He had 16 points and 8 rebounds in the victory over Dayton the other day, and there he lost his touch, missing the front end of the 1-and-1. Draper pulls the trigger quickly and comes up way short on that 3-point try. The enemy the rebound, and here's James, who lost the basketball in his back pocket, and he's fouled from behind. He got bailed out.
Good advancing of the basketball to 4 from the enemy. And then James right there. Fortunately, he got fouled because he looked like he kind of lost it on the drive.
Yeah, I think Draper went for the basketball, and it wasn't there. He ended up fouling it.
And this is important for James right here. He needs to make this one. He has not scored. Think about that. We're talking about a guy that averaging 21 a night, and one of the reasons that North Texas has stayed in the game, even though Oklahoma's been excellent defensively, sometimes when those scores, Bill, they aren't producing like they typically do. They get themselves to the line, make one, get that feel. Look for James to attack more as they close out the half. I'd be surprised if he didn't.
Christian had just 1 point in the game at 21 in the victory over Dayton. He's averaging just under 20 on the season, which is best in the Big 12. And that's a whistle that bails out the Mean Green. And that foul is called on Christian James. He and Freeman had Simmons, I beg your pardon, had Draper. Now that's Woolridge surrounded, and the foul gets called, and that takes us to a timeout. 3:56 to play in the first half. Oklahoma has controlled the scoreboard.
toughness from Ryan Spangler at both ends of the floor, but they didn't throw it into him on the block. Kadeem Lattin was a terrific defender, rim protector, but not an offensive guy by any means. But McNeese, Coach Kruger talked about that before the season started. We're going to throw it in there to him and get him his touches. And not just early, we're going to get the ball inside early in the game and then abandon it like 90% of the college basketball teams do.
Well, Jamani is leading Oklahoma right now with 7 points and 12 minutes of action to this point. He's averaging 8.6 rebounds per game, and when he gets the ball, he's produced, shooting 54% from the floor. Shoot above 50, you're going to get the rock. This is Gibson with 5 seconds to shoot. He's on the move, stops, floats it up. That's no good. Shot clock did not reset. Give a lot of credit to Mike Miller for getting that rebound and keeping the possession alive, and North Texas gets 2 points out of it.
Yeah, heads-up play from North Texas. Unfortunate by Oklahoma. It's just one of those that an air ball lands right into North Texas's hands.
Reynolds pulls up, leans, and misses. And that's another rebound to Michael Miller. Leaves it for Smart, who's back in the game with 2 personal fouls. And he's going to launch a long-range three and hit it. And salute the crowd on his way back down the floor.
And this was what I was saying earlier in the half, Bill. You know, Oklahoma is forcing a bunch of turnovers. We know they've got several series of stops, but offensively they've just struggled so much.
Reynolds can't answer back, and off the miss on the other side, Doolittle climbed the back of a Mean Green player, and that foul goes against Christian Doolittle. That's his first personal foul. And for Oklahoma, team foul number 7, so they'll shoot.
And look, with this lineup for Oklahoma, and we just talked about McNeese and his improvement on the block, and he'll also pass out of there. These guys need to play off of him, but you have Doolittle, who, you know, can score. Matt Freeman is a stretch 4. Reynolds is a driver, not a shooter. That was not a good shot. And beginning, he's a freshman trying to run the team. You know, they don't need to go out there and try to make Christian James plays. Move the ball, get a touch inside, attack off the bounce if it's there. But credit North Texas. I think they've done a really good job of just keeping Oklahoma in front and not allowing them to turn the corner and draw help situations.
Calixte checks back in for Oklahoma. Michael Miller's at the free throw line. He's shooting to tie now, 22-21. Miller's an interesting story. He's a senior from Michigan City, Indiana. Throughout his career at North Texas, he shot left-handed. And then last year, prior to the CBI tournament, Grant McCaslin said, why don't you try right-handed? Not during the off-season work on your shot, right before arguably the most important tournament in school history. So he's been shooting right-handed ever since their championship run in the CBI.
The crazy part, he was 3 of 28 left-handed, and then he went 8 for 14 right-handed. So that's pretty good coaching by Grant McCaslin.
Oklahoma regains the lead on the Sooner end, and Doolittle has a chance to complete a 3-point play. I think the transition from going left to right would be difficult just because you'd have to think about your shot. I mean, it wouldn't be an instinctive thing, although they say he is fairly ambidextrous in other facets of his athletic career. Plays some baseball as well.
But did they not say that he shot free throws, for example, right-handed, and then 3 left-handed?
I just find that an odd hunch. Why don't you try shooting right-handed? Back up to a 3-point Oklahoma lead after North Texas was able to close an 8-point margin to a 22-all tie. Here's Smart floating it high in the air. That's off the mark. Smart went down and looks like he's going to shoot some free throws. Foul is called on McNeese.
Yeah, I didn't see it right there. But this is what having McNeese on the back line does for you. I mean, he has to take a bad shot. Strong drive. Matt Freeman leaves his feet. There's the contest. That's a tough call right there.
So here's Roosevelt Smart, a junior out of Chicago, played junior college ball at New Mexico JC. And the second rolls around and in.
Well, Smart is a great combination of a catch and shoot guy, as you mentioned, 133 makes last year. That's a bunch. But he also went to the free throw line 5 times a game, which tells you he attacks. And so that makes it tough on even very good individual defenders to guard him.
The attempted lob was to McNeese, but he ran out of room, and the ball goes out of bounds. North Texas has possession of the basketball and a chance to take the lead inside 2 minutes remaining in the first half. They have hung around and now have a chance to take their first lead of the game.
And this is kind of what they did a year ago. The difference is this North Texas team much more talented than last year.
Woolridge. Wild shot, no good. Ill-advised is how you might label that one. Here's Calixte kicking it to the corner, and there's a whistle on the pass. And that's a foul against North Texas. And that's going to go against Tope Arikoe, a senior out of Lagos, Nigeria. Grant McCaslin brought Arikoe into the game fairly early in this, noticing the same kind of size mismatch that we've been talking about. They just don't have that physical presence without him on the floor.
Have you ever been to a game of, 7th graders and they're playing a 9th grade team, in a tournament? I mean, right now, this is what that looks like. Mean Green's tallest player is a little over 6'3". Miles Reynolds, the 2 guard for Oklahoma, is 6'3". Only Calixte is shorter than Mean Green's 5-man.
So what you're saying is they don't shop at the big and tall and husky department.
No, but when you defend well and you're in the right positions and you play hard, quickness can be a really good thing. More so than size at times.
Back up to a 3-point Oklahoma advantage after McNeese's trip to the free throw line. Coming up on a minute remaining in the first half. Woolridge leaves it for Smart. He draws some contact. There's no foul. Woolridge, as it goes through his hands, shot clock winds down, and that's going to be a turnover. Best defensive sequence of the night turned in by the Sooners.
Now you're only as good as your weakest defender on the floor. As you mentioned, I think it was perfect. And it was an excellent defensive possession, contesting, nobody out of position.
Manick inside, Reynolds with a quick shot, and Oklahoma's back up by 5.
Better shot for Reynolds right there, playing away from the ball. A little curl on the screen into the middle of the lane.
He averages 7. He's got 4.
Sooners can get a stop right here. They're going to get the ball back before the end of the half.
Smart, they say, is a crazy shot maker, and that qualifies. Launching the 3 to draw them to within 2.
Well, that's a tough shot right there. It really elevates the ball in his jump shot.
Would you like to have seen him play junior college ball where things are a little more freewheeling?
I played JUCO ball. Freewheeling meaning no defense.
Duffy pulls down the rebound, final second, and that is going to do it. The first half has come to an end. On the halftime clock, Lon Kruger kept his team sequestered in the verdict room until about a minute and a half or so.
He was giving what is known as a do-better speech.
Well, let's see if they can do better than outscoring the Mean Green by just 2 points as they did the first 20 minutes. North Texas opens up the second half with the possession. Simmons, Duffy, Woolridge, Simmons, and Gibson, the starting 5 for North Texas in this second half. And a lot of running around by the Mean Green before they're allowed to put the ball in play. And this is Gibson launching a 3-pointer. That's no good, and Brady Manick pulls down the rebound. That shot was for the lead, and it would have been the first of the game for North Texas. And there's a steal, the ball taken away from Calixte. Gibson trying to outpace the pack, and that's blocked away by Manick. Doolittle gets it ahead to Calixte. Back to Doolittle. He floats. It goes off the glass for 2.
And what looked like a basket from Gibson on that last drive is the length of Manick. Almost like Manick, he just baited him into it right there. Notice for Oklahoma, no Christian James. Lon Kruger not starting him this half with those 3 fouls.
McNeese just sent Woolridge to the floor, and he draws a foul.
Well, this game has been full of crazy sequences. Calixte just gets too deep there, and then Gibson surprised that Manick is able to catch up, block it, and then Oklahoma a little 2-on-1. And there's Christian Doolittle with the finish.
To the free throw line, Ryan Woolridge, a 64% foul shooter. Again, a junior from Mansfield, Texas. He began his collegiate career at San Diego, transferred in the middle of his freshman season because his mom was battling cancer. And there's McNeese going to the Oklahoma bench. There's the foul he committed on Woolridge.
Yeah, when you're inside that restricted area, you have to have a true vertical jump. And his arms were down slightly. You got to go from ground up to the ceiling.
Three-pointer for Miles Reynolds, who starts the second half, and the lead's up to 5.
Big bucket right there from Reynolds. And Lon Kruger puts Christian James in. Remember, he's got those 3 fouls.
For Reynolds, he has 7 to match his average. That's Woolridge creating another opportunity at the free throw line. Foul's called on Doolittle.
And it's Manick right here. And it's not the first hesitation move or even the second. It's that third or fourth that can get defenders. And you really have to be disciplined and keep your nose on that offensive player's chest. And as soon as Manick bit, you saw him come to him slightly, Bill. And then Woolridge used his tremendous quickness to blow by.
Back to a 2-point game. Christian James in there now. He didn't start the second half, but he's off the bench quickly. Manick flips it over the backboard after drawing the foul on Jemiah Simmons.
Foul is on Simmons, number 10. North Texas is 3rd.
And Oklahoma will inbound the basketball.
Simple ball reversal, and that's what Coach Crutchfield was basically telling Jessica at halftime. We got to be patient, get some ball movement. Oklahoma, would be smart to continue to try to pound it inside.
Foul was called on Michael Miller, his second personal foul. Sooners trying to kick it into Manick using that 6'9" frame. And Calixte to kick it in. And he does so to Manick under the basket. And he shuffled his feet and turned it over. That's a difficult place for anybody to do anything with the basketball when you're that far underneath the hoop like that.
That's a great point. And then Miller was smart. I mean, he was caught, but he knew that as well. And just stayed strong, good base, went straight up and down, forcing Manick to make the play.
2 to tie, 3 to take the lead. You know, Smart's thinking 3. That's why he wears number 3. Woolridge with a shot clock down to 2 seconds on the move. Goes to the left hand, and he lays it up and in to tie the game at 34.
Even on my notes, Bill, I have Woolridge. It says excellent speed off the bounce. And he just blew right by Calixte.
Manick got boxed out, and now the Mean Green possession of the basketball and a chance to take their first lead of the game. They trailed throughout the first half, got the game tied at 22, but couldn't overtake that Sooner lead. Shot clock at 10. Miller fires a pass inside, and Simmons puts the Mean Green on top.
Well, just a rare miscommunication from Oklahoma in the half-court set defensively.
And there's James with his first field goal of the game.
Oh, how Lon Kruger would like to get Christian James going. So another reason Oklahoma struggled offensively in the first half, again, going back to the 7 minutes that Christian James played because of the 3 fouls. And he's the centerpiece of that offense in which every other player plays off of.
Woolridge again went to the left hand. This time bounced off, and it was touched by Simmons. Offensive goaltending is the call, and Oklahoma gets the basketball and a chance to regain the lead. James thought about the three. Now Calixte. Christian James has scored 15 points, at least 15 points, in each of Oklahoma's 6 games this season. He has just 3. Is he poised for a big second half? Euro. That's no good. Simmons gets the rebound in traffic. Manek had a hand on that shot, and it goes out of bounds. Last touch by Oklahoma. And Woolridge finally gets helped up off the floor. He watched that sequence from his wallet. He didn't want to get in that fracas.
So Woolridge, once again, it's a little bit too easy to go basically straight to the rim. And sometimes, as a coach, you're concerned when you have really good first half defensively. And remember, the second half, your defense is at the other end, and so you can't communicate as well.
Miller missed. Good pass. James waits for the traffic and missed the shot. Simmons leaves it for Woolridge. Here's Duffy on the other end. He got Doolittle in the air, and Doolittle pulls down the miss.
A great defense by Doolittle right there.
Calixte draws contact. He's got a chance at a three-point play. Good experienced play by the graduate transfer.
Oklahoma will not have any strength of schedule issues as you get towards NCAA tournament time. In fact, I tell you what's unique is of those 12 games, I believe, before Big 12 conference play begins, Oklahoma only plays in this building 3 of those before conference play starts.
A lot of home games, but taking the game to the people. Tulsa, Oklahoma City, and all parts around. Different venues, which you get into postseason play, you got to be able to adjust to buildings that are different than places like this. And this is a fairly intimate setting when you consider playing in places like Chesapeake Energy Arena.
North Texas this second half being more patient and not taking the quick 3. Ball movement and then attacking the gaps after ball movement off the bounce.
The enemy who's off the bench and into the game and hitting a 3 from the key. Oklahoma 41-38.
Lon Kruger right now has both his point guards, Calixte, the veteran, and then Bieniemy, also the freshman who just hit that 3-pointer.
James is out there. Calixte. Freeman is coming off the bench. Jamani McNeese and Bieniemy for Oklahoma in white. Zachary Simmons shooting 74% from the floor, and he misses one from in close. Here's Bieniemy on the move, has that swatted away by Ryan Woolridge. Woolridge the other way, and now Michael Miller. Mismatch against McNeese, and that's a wild shot.
I commend him for taking it to McNeese, but been better served to dish it.
And McNeese goes hard to the hole, and he gets a foul called. Looks like that might be on DJ Draper. It is. That's fortunate for North Texas because Zachary Simmons was also there.
You see McNeese right there? Sometimes the bigs, when you're guard and you're driving, unintentionally they will hide behind a defender, and so you can't get involved. See how he opened up as the defense shifted over, and then even though he's wide open, McNeese holds up his hands, letting him know he's ready to receive the basketball. That's good feel on the drive from Jamani McNeese.
McNeese had been 5 of 7 from the free throw line. And he comes up short on both of those attempts. So 5 of 9 in the game, and the lead remains 3 for Oklahoma. Umoja Gibson lost a handle on the basketball, and it's a turnover to Oklahoma. Walden Cleaners has 3 generations of knowledge that ensure the highest quality detergents and cleaning methods, that they're used along with the most advanced equipment. Walden Cleaners and Laundry, where the difference is quality. Oklahoma led by as many as 8 in the first half. There's McNeese drawing a foul on Mark Tikaninko, who just came into the game for North Texas. This is his first appearance, so his first foul. He's a 6'10" native of Moscow, Russia. Attempted lob hit the back of the backboard, and that's Christian James coming up short. Freeman shows patience, steps inside the arc. That's off the mark. Woolridge gets in there, and the ball is last touched by James, who's really frustrated, and now he's starting to let it show.
I remember earlier in this half, had a bunny right at the rim and missed the lay-in, and right there contested, but typically with his size and strength, he has the ability to finish those. And Oklahoma, they've just never been able to get that 10-2 run, 9-2 run, just to get a little bit of separation and a little bit of comfort. Credit North Texas, though. They're tough, and I'm telling you right now, they play hard.
Woolridge got free and spins it in for the win. 41-40, Oklahoma's lead is down to 1. Freeman inside. Good catch by McNeese, and he muscles it up and in.
Boy, Freeman, nice pass right there. Uses his size out on the perimeter to get a McNeese. And I love what Oklahoma's doing. I mean, they're getting McNeese touches virtually every possession right now.
Here's Woolridge. Gibson shows some patience, and now Jemiah Simmons on the move. He goes too hard off the glass, and Freeman gets the rebound. Freeman's a guy who could hit an outside shot if Oklahoma needs it. He went 3 for 4 from three-point range in the win over Wofford 2 weeks ago. Got 11 points in that game. Jemiah Simmons, three-point try. That's no good. And the rebound to Jamal Bieniemy.
And we talked about Oklahoma. What they're attempting to do is get it inside to McNeese in their half-court possessions. In North Texas, they've abandoned the three. That's the first three-point attempt of this half after taking 16 in the first. So they're looking really to drive it and get to the rim.
Well, Simmons goes on the drive, and again he's too strong. And that numbers for Oklahoma, 2-on-1. Reynolds with a burst of speed gets the basket around Emoja Gibson.
So even though Freeman wasn't pointed up at the top of the key, he wasn't on the wing either. And with Oklahoma spacing in their shooters, their weak side help had a long distance to rotate over. And so, we talk so much about spacing in basketball. That's a reason you want to have good spacing for opportunities like that.
Zachary Simmons turns into a double team, and a foul is called on Oklahoma. Freeman did a good job of coming underneath the basket, setting up that double team. You see, he's trying to plead his case. He's not going to win that argument, and that takes us to another timeout after that foul called on Oklahoma. The Sooners still have that lead. So Lon Kruger utilizing his bench in this sequence. Mean Green has the basketball as we resume play. This after an Oklahoma foul, ball inbounded to Duffy. Miller and Smart, Woolridge on the floor along with Zachary Simmons, who patrols the paint. Now, earlier you said that they had gone away from the three-point shot. Well, Roosevelt Smart was on the bench for a while. I'm guessing that strategy might change, and there's a three launch from the corner. That's too strong, and Doolittle has the rebound. Grant McCaslin told us that Roosevelt Smart is 100% healthy, but he is not in game-playing shape. So he sat him for a significant portion of the early part of the second half. My guess is he may want him to go as long as possible the rest down the stretch. Foul called on Michael Miller of North Texas.
And a good two-end execution from Oklahoma out of the timeout. Among other things, what Lon Kruger talks about on the underneath out of bounds play defensively at the other end is let's get a stop. So they get that. They get the fourth shot late in the shot clock. And then you come down the other end and you get something moving towards the basket. You can't ask for that much more. And Miles Reynolds is great at getting things towards the basket and movement.
And getting to the free throw line. And with more on that, here's Jessica Cootie.
Guys, guys, this is what he does. This is what he's always done. He said that he's had a knack for getting to the free throw line dating back to high school. He's always been an aggressive player and knows that that's something that he can do for his team. And in fact, he's always been good at it, but he always continues to try to even get better at it. One of his best friends is Devin Booker, who actually leads the Suns in free throws attempted per game. And so over the summer, actually in August, they had a couple weeks off. He flew out to LA and worked out with Devin Booker, got to pick his brain about initiating contact. And obviously the rules are different with the NBA and college, but just finding other ways that he can get to the line. He said now that it's out on him, the scouting report, he knows he's going to have to adjust, but it's something he's had to do his whole life. He's going to have to adjust as the teams adjust and keep finding ways like he did right there, getting to the line.
Hey, on cue. Jessica, thank you. Miles Reynolds will go back to the free throw line. He is the top free throw shooter in the Big 12 Conference to this point. He entered the game at 93%. That last trip, though, he just went 1 for 2, but it was his free throw shooting down the stretch that saved the game for Oklahoma in the victory over Dayton. Oklahoma won that game 65-54. Reynolds went 13 of 14 in that game and scored Oklahoma's final 10 points in what became their 5th win of the season.
And this is not a surprise to Lon Kruger and his staff, obviously. He was at Pacific last year. I mean, he went to the line on average 6 times a game. And if you're doing it that consistently, then you're somebody not only drives it, but there's also an art to creating contact and getting the foul call. And then, as you mentioned, an excellent free throw shooter as well. You can score in bunches if you can get yourself to the line.
Simmons used his body to create some space, but he took a couple of steps and got called for traveling. And Oklahoma has an 8-point lead, which matches the biggest lead of the game.
And here's that little run we were talking about.
Yep. Grant McCaslin called a timeout to try and prevent it. Here's Reynolds forcing up a shot. Jemiah Simmons gets the rebound, and here's Roosevelt Smart in transition. He gets contact from Freeman. There's no whistle there. The enemy has it, and the Sooners want to run. James kicks it to the corner. Freeman shows some patience and has that three-pointer roll off the rim. An official's whistle stops play and stops North Texas's transition game. And perhaps there would be a problem in a situation like this where you look at the clock to see if everything is in order there. It stops with 10:06 left to play in the second half.
We had a clock malfunction. The officials are checking the monitor for correction.
And a clock malfunction has been announced. Well, let's see if we can pick up what happened. So the clock is moving as it should. And then stops. It remains stopped for a long time. Took them a while to recognize it. All of that transpired for Oklahoma with no time going off the clock. You have an official who keeps the stop digits and start, but they may want to go. Well, they looked at the video and settled on 9:53.
9 minutes and 53 seconds.
So the adjustment has been made.
Those are the kind of trips to the scores table and monitor that you can understand. It's those other ones. College football, too.
Oh, my gosh.
It's like, man. The irony is it's supposed to speed up the game.
Jemiah Simmons gets fouled by Brady Manick, and Simmons will go to the free throw line. Oh, no, they're going to say the foul is on the floor. Yeah, there it is. And no NBA continuation. It kind of looked like active shooting. It was definitely
active shooting. He was active shooting, even if you're driving it, is motion up. No question where he was going.
Well, there was an indication to the floor. And then after discussion, they settled on shooting free throws. And it's Jemiah Simmons, who's a redshirt sophomore from St. Thomas, the Virgin Islands, who began his collegiate career at Arkansas State with Grant McCaslin. And when his coach took the job at North Texas, he said, I'm going with you. Transferred and sat out last year. 1 for 2 that trip. And there's Manick in transition, hitting a 3. And Oklahoma enjoys its biggest lead of the game, 51-41.
And that's Manick's best three-point shot, the trail 3.
That ball taken away from Smart, and that was Manick who had his hands in there. And Reynolds dropped the pass for James, and that goes out of bounds, and it's a turnover to North Texas.
Yeah, I think that surprised Christian James. That was an excellent pass, and it was right to his hands. Now, again, Oklahoma getting a little separation, but those are the type of plays that if you don't continue to extend your lead that you look back on. Opportunity for an easy 2.
North Texas took a 36-34 lead 3 minutes into the second half. That shot's off the mark by Umoja Gibson. Simmons taps up the rebound. That's no good. Gets his own miss, and it's swatted away by Manick. And now Smart's going to launch an uncontested 3, and that's back iron no good. And a foul is called on North Texas.
North Texas foul is on Zachary Simmons, number 24. That's his third.
They had a lot of opportunities to put some points on the board in that sequence and couldn't get it done.
Here's that three-point shot by Manick. Watch Christian James slow up, and then you can see Manick coming to your picture right there. And you like those as a stretch for those bigs that can shoot the 3 because your momentum is moving towards the basket, and you're automatically squared up to the rim. And for someone like Brady Manick, that really becomes an easy one. He made 59 threes last year as a freshman, so you know he can shoot from long range.
Jamani McNeese is getting plenty of work at the free throw line to improve what was a 35% average at the beginning of the night. 5 of 14, 6 of 10 in the game, and a team high 12 points for Oklahoma. Reynolds also has 12. And he got his own rebound, and it's taken away by Miller. Beg your pardon, that's Smart who took it away.
Well, how can you forget to block off the shooter, especially when it's Jamani McNeese?
Foul is called. And that foul is on Reynolds. Second foul on Reynolds. And team foul number 5 on Oklahoma.
Let's take a look. Here's the drive. Yeah, he grabbed his. Miles made it look like he didn't touch him.
Smart gets contact from McNeese. No whistle. Simmons the rebound. And the lefty floats it up and in. And the lead's back down to single digits, 52-43 with 8 minutes remaining.
Good patient move right there from Simmons.
McNeese quickly past Simmons, and he throws down another dunk. McNeese has 14.
We'll get another look at that at some point. But what I like about it, other than the athleticism he showed, the great feel that he had. No hesitation in his move.
And that's Roosevelt Smart creating the shot, getting the basket. Pulls out the battle for Atlantis. So he's playing some pretty good basketball right now.
And I'll tell you when he played good basketball. He was really good in February and March of last year.
And there's Reynolds forcing one up and in. Took it right to the mean green.
Boy, just a rip and attack right there with strength.
Duffy from the corner after the no-look pass, and he buries the 3, and North Texas needed that. 56-48.
Look at the three-point shot to go down. You know, one thing I'm a little bit surprised that North Texas hasn't done more of tonight is use Simmons to set ball screens and bring McNeese away from the basket. Keep him from lurking back there on the back line.
Brady Manick picked up the garbage but missed the shot. And that ball is poked away from Woolridge into the Sooner bench. It's Mean Green basketball. You know, the other thing about what McNeese has done, and you and I talked about it in the open, that Christian James has done what Oklahoma hoped, expected, and needed. Well, he has been ineffective tonight. Foul trouble hurt him in the first half. They have needed somebody to step up and carry this team tonight, and it has been McNeese. In the absence of the production from Christian James. Calixte's pass is tapped out of bounds, last touch by North Texas.
Well, James has never been able to get going because of the foul trouble. And you know, it's not a one-man deal. You can't expect him to score 21 a night, I think, continuing moving forward. Now, you're going to get good production out of it, don't get me wrong, but you know, other guys have to step up. And I love teams that have a good inside-out combination of scoring threats.
Jamani was calling for it there and got it picked away from behind by Smart, and McNeese got it back, and he drew another foul. And he's going to shoot some more free throws.
McNeese is playing with more fervor. I mean, he's always played hard, but now he's playing more intense. And I think sometimes when your opportunity comes to be one of the guys, you recognize the need for that. But I love his intensity. And watch this sequence right here. Now, I talked about feel earlier. He didn't feel the weak side, so he puts it on the deck. You don't want to do that, especially when they're digging down. But continues to stay with it, and he gets himself back to the foul line, which he's been a bunch here tonight.
Now 6 of 13. That's a foul called on Smart, crashing into Brady Manick. And let's give a tip of the cap to Brady Manick, too. And even on that last play down underneath the Oklahoma basket, he's the one who kept that play alive for McNeese to get the ball. And here he is on the defensive end drawing the foul. Manick's a guy who started this season with 3 consecutive double-doubles. Nobody had done that for Oklahoma since Blake Griffin. Well, his production has gone down. He was shooting 4 for his last 20, 3 games entering tonight. But now he's doing other things, even though the shots aren't falling. He's had an impact on this game, no doubt about it. And there he is again off that pass by Calixte. There's a foul.
Well, you know, you talk about how he struggled scoring in the Bahamas, and that's, you know, what you like about him. What you're saying is you're going to still get rebounding. Well, he's second in the conference. He's #1 in defensive board play in the Big 12 so far. He takes a charge there. He's going to hustle. He's going to set his screens. He's going to execute like you're supposed to. And then, you know, if teams start to sleep on him again, he's going to have one of those games where he makes 4 or 5 threes and scores 22.
Calixte scored the first 2 of the game. Gets the second of the 2 free throws with 5:45 left to go down, and Oklahoma's lead is back up to 9, 57-48.
This is where that defensive identity that Lon Kruger has, I believe, reestablished with Oklahoma. Up 9, 5.5 left. Just going to take a series of stops, really, to finish off North Texas. And there's one right there.
Foul is called on Michael Miller. And that is his 5th foul. So his night has come to an end. That was a miss by Zachary Simmons, big number 24 for the Mean Green. He entered this game shooting 74% from the floor. 41 of his 46 makes on the season, all in the paint. But tonight, the big guy is just 2 of 7. He has not faced the kind of inside presence tonight that he has seen in the previous 8 games of the year for the Mean Green. So Miller's done. Manick will go to the free throw line. Simmons, Gibson, Duffy on the floor, along with Woolridge for North Texas.
Brady Manick will be on the line for Oklahoma for 2 shots.
McNeese, James, Manick, Calixte, and Reynolds. And Manick misses the first of the 2 free throws coming to him. Brady's a 69% foul shooter on the season.
Manick gained a lot of tremendous experience last year. You know, they knew he would make an immediate impact when he got on this campus. He was third in minutes on this ball club, only behind Trae Young and Christian James.
Ball out of bounds, last touch by the Mean Green. Last year, Brady Manick was known as the other freshman. This year, I heard Chad McKee call him Prairie Bird with that new floppy haircut that he has. And that may be the best new nickname in college basketball. And what a pretty play on that pass to McNeese. His good night continues to get better.
And a good recognition by James. And as soon as that defender loses sight of the ball, that's when you can pass it.
Well, Calixte read that well, and he's going to score an easy 2 for OU. And now the lead is as big as it's been all night.
That's the beauty of basketball. That's a team effort in Oklahoma. Much better defensive team than they've been in the last couple of years.
And another thing the Sooners have done well is they have taken much better care of the basketball in the second half than they did in the first. First 20 minutes, they had 10 turnovers. Thus far, just 4. And here's another steal. And that's Miles Reynolds getting the pick in the basket, 64-48. And Woolridge was leaving it for Simmons, and it got tapped out of bounds. Mean Green basketball.
And you look at the lineup right now, you have Calixte, Bieniemy, both point guards, and a third option at point for Lon Kruger would be a guy like Miles Reynolds. All in the game at the same time right now. They're in there for ball security, also to help close out this game.
Duffy's going to try a 3 from the corner. That rolls off, and Manick has the board. 7 rebounds on the night for Brady Manick to go with 8 points. Manick on the move. Not in good position to make that reverse layup. Duffy goes the other way. There's contact. He comes up short. Calixte fires the pass ahead to Manick. He leaves it for Bieniemy. 1 dribble too many. And now things are getting sloppy. Woolridge all by himself. 3-pointer's good.
3-point basket time.
A rare wide open look from 3 here in the second half. For the game, for that matter. Oklahoma has done a really good job, even when it's appeared North Texas.
Obviously, Buddy was the man here at OU, and he had a great year. However, the game didn't translate into the NBA right away, but he had to go through a couple of different scenarios, different coaches, and I think the coaching change has made a big difference in his game. And as a result, he's got a lot of confidence, and he's going to play way better than the last couple of years.
Last question for you. You obviously like to play a little defense, right? This is something that has been a big focus for this team going into this year, finding a defensive identity. How important is that to a team?
Well, when you have a superstar on the team, and clearly we have some seniors that are stepping up as leaders, but when you don't have that guy that is going to get you 20, 25 points, you have to rely on defense. You have to be a scrappy team, which I know Coach Crew is going to do that for our Sooners, and you can tell right away they give up. On offense, they give up a few turnovers, but they go back on defense and they get it right away. They rebound the ball really well. So that's going to be huge going down the stretch.
I appreciate your time. Great to see you back at the LNC.
Always great seeing you. Thank you.
All right, guys, back over to you.
Thank you, Jess. Great to hear from Eduardo Nahara. Sooner basketball is brought to you by the University of Oklahoma Extended Campus. It offers programs for working adults and lifelong learners. Degrees online, on-site, on your schedule. Become the tradition. Visit pacs.ou.edu. He may have been the hardest working player I have ever seen in a college game. Eduardo Nahara.
Yeah, when I think of him and those late 90s teams, 2000, I think of toughness, and where that shows up is defense and rebounding. I mean, he could score, obviously. Tremendous rebounder, and he was the identity, I think, for those Oklahoma teams, those really good Kelvin Sampson teams that were tough. And that's why you have an 11-year NBA career like Eduardo did. I mean, he brought it every night at both levels. He's All-American here, first team All Big 12.
When you could sense that the passion and love for this place is as deep as it's ever been with him.
I think, you know, I only know guys from the NBA because I didn't sniff it, right? So, but I've lots of friends that spent time there, and they're so busy, from whatever age, 22 to however long they play. They're working, and that's their profession, and but when that's over, it gives them time to go back and to their alma mater or areas of their life where they have been and revisit and reconnect. And yeah, that's always cool to see.
69-54 with 1:40 left to play during Jessica's conversation with Eddie Nahara. A lot of playground activity. Some shots jacked up on both ends. Oklahoma maintains a comfortable lead now, 70-54 for the Sooners, who are not far off from their season scoring average of 73 points per game. And what a night for Jamani McNeese. 16 points, 10 rebounds, a double-double for him. Final minute and a half. This game much different than the one that they played, and I got to get this in. Back in 1989, this series does not have a lot of depth to it, and James hits another three. But when these two teams met back in 1989, Oklahoma won that game 147-94. Defense, they both ran the option. And in that year, that was the year that Oklahoma was the highest scoring team in the country, into the regular season, ranked #1. During non-conference Big 8 games, the Sooners scored 100 points 9 times that non-conference season. They were 12-0 in 1988-89. First loss of the season for the Oklahoma Sooners, a 66-51 setback at Kansas State, a Wildcat team coached by Lon Kruger. They held that high-scoring team to 51 points.
Controlled the tempo, which was hard to do with Billy Ball, Coach Billy Tuck.
Yeah.
Now, 89, 147 points. Two of the guys in that team were fairly decent players, Stacey King and Mookie Blaylock.
Skeeter Henry.
But something about Coach Tubbs' teams that didn't get a lot of credit. I think they were good defensively. They used their defense to create the tempo, and they also scored off turnovers, and there was a little more dedication to that than probably his reputation.
Nannett got the steal and then lost the handle on it when it was taken away from him by Gibson. Final 35 seconds. Oklahoma half minute away from improving to 6-1 on the year. And North Texas about to suffer its first setback of the season after an 8-0 start, and their 10-game winning streak is going to come to an end. Oklahoma is able to put together a comfortable victory despite the fact that Christian James only managed 9 points in this one. The leading scorer in the Big 12 held in single digits with foul trouble in the first half. He wasn't producing, but others did, including Jamani McNeese. Again, a double-double tonight, 16 and 10. Brady Manick also had 10 points.